Okay, it's 6 o'clock and we're ready to go. Call me to order. Need a motion to adopt the agenda, please. I don't have any additions. Should we have any additions? Need a motion to adopt the agenda, please.
Move to approve.
Second by Roger. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Need to approve the minutes of the regular meeting on November 18th and the special meeting on November 26th. Minutes from your packet. Motion to approve this, please.
Move to approve those minutes.
Motion by Jeff.
Second.
Second by Joanne. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. Consideration of bills and warrants. Hope you all had a chance to look at those bills, and if you have any questions, now would be time to ask them. Otherwise, I'll accept the motion to approve.
Motion to approve the bills and warrants.
Motion by David.
I'll second it.
Second by Olivia. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. Hearing requests and suggestions from citizens. I see no one here who's probably in that mode. So we'll move on. Item 6.0, Brooke Hopper was supposed to make a presentation on communities and schools. Her co-presenter could not get here, so that'll be put off until some other time.
Till we set another date.
We get that set, okay? So we're ready for 7.0 is report from superintendent.
All right, so a couple updates. Mike and I went to the KASB conference last weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so it was interesting because you go to different breakout sessions. And so a lot of the breakout sessions were about facilities planning. I thought, that's ironic. And and then some strategic planning as well. So those are sessions that I was able to attend. You have in front of you the strategic planning from a smaller district. I went to listen to that because they were, the descriptions that they were in dire need of a long-term maintenance and facility plan. They wanted to ensure that the equipment was being well maintained and operated and all of those things that every district wants. They developed a 25-year plan to identify the life expectancy, major mechanical and structural things. And so when I went to the session, this is what they gave us. And so they had an architect and an engineer come in and look at their facilities, assess their facilities. However, that had happened after he didn't want to say they had failed bond attempts. He said we had 2 unsuccessful bond attempts. And then on the most recent successful bond attempt, the architect and engineers were called to come in. So questions were asked of the architects and engineers. They didn't want to give a quote or even, say, well, it would cost this much to come and look at your building or your facilities or anything like that, which I thought was interesting. I was able to visit with the superintendent from Humboldt after this particular breakout session, and she had a group that had come and had done a facility walkthrough and assessment with engineers and architects. And our facilities group has now toured all of the buildings and all of the facilities, and so we've got some good notes and things, and we'll get those together. So we're continuing to work on that. Thought it was interesting. Strategic planning update. We've been getting information from staff, and so the high school and middle school will have their information from their groups, and then we will look at that and begin to plan this next spring as we move forward. And we'll visit with some student groups next semester as well. So things coming up. The 19th is the students' last day before winter recess. So that will start their winter break. Professional development starts back up for teachers January the 6th. That's our poverty simulation. Students will come back on the 7th. So that'll be the first student day back. Then on the 20th, we are closed for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And so our regular scheduled board meeting would be on the 20th. That's the third Monday. So it is moved to January the 21st, which is that next Tuesday, the next day. So.
Any questions for Lori? Okay. AO is Tri-County Special Education Board meeting. Another good meeting. We had a really, really good presentation by Joy Hoffman and a couple of her students on projects that they work on, and the students did a great job of talking about what they have done and how they do it. Even showed us a little bit about how they do the work. It was a really good presentation. Other than that, we had no action items except the consent agenda. Remind you all again, legislative luncheon on February the 6th. If anybody's interested in going to that in Topeka, please let Lori know. We're allowed to take 2 people. So if anyone wants to go, that would be a wonderful time to visit with our legislators and hear some reports from them. And next month, we will be doing the director's evaluation. And good note, maintenance of effort we met that for the last year. And maintenance of effort, we have to spend as much money this year as we did last year. Always have to spend as much or more each year than we spent the previous year. And we met that requirement. That's pretty much all we did. It was good presentation, though, really good presentation. The KASB convention, I went with Lori on that. Like I said, several sessions. A couple of them I went to were not what I expected, which always happens. One of them was on softer and safer schools. I thought, boy, I'll get some good information, and all it was the presenter telling us about what a great job they were building a new facility. And so we didn't really get a lot out of that one. I did go to the one on vaping that KSB put on. It's really a major problem we have in our country. In Kansas, a statistic I thought was very interesting. They surveyed students in the 9th through 12th grade and ever tried e-cigarettes. 48% of the students surveyed have tried e-cigarettes versus 25% who have tried cigarettes. So we have a big problem there. I know KSB, the state school board is suggesting very strongly that we develop some really strong policies to combat vaping in our schools. I have a great notebook. If anybody would like to see it and go through it, I'd certainly be glad to loan it to you. Okay.
Question.
Yes.
All right. In my notes, I have something about vaping, because I brought that up months ago when we were looking at our policies about e-cigarettes. And I know at the end for board comments, I'm hoping that we strengthen or develop our policies on vaping so that everyone understands what our policy is in 503. So that we can discuss it. And
I'm sure the KSB is going to be providing us with
well, they already sent us in our brochure. I'm just saying,
right.
The sooner the better is all I'm saying.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we're going to report by principals, and this month is going to be directors. We have 2 of them. Tanya Phillips is up.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
In November, we had our CPA audit. They were in the district for a couple of days doing field work. We expect that to go well if the final report comes in as they told us it might. Last week, KSDE was in for our annual state audit. We also expect that to go really well if everything goes as they indicated. Miranda and I went to Greenbush for our training on the end of the year coming up. So in January, we'll be doing W-2s and doing all tax information. So that's coming up. And we will also be preparing for our food service administrative review, which is required of the district every 3 years. So that's coming in January over the month of December. And also, right after that, we will be preparing for our food service management company request for proposal that we have to do every 5 years. So things are just kind of rocking and rolling back in the business office. We
Just staying busy.
staying busy.
And when KSD when they were here last week and went through, they were very complimentary of Tanya and the data and the job that she had done and getting things ready, and
Good for you.
it was organized and it was nice. It turned out pretty well.
Thank you.
On track financially?
Yeah, we
should
are on
be.
track financially. If you guys want something different on these reports going forward, just let me know and I will provide whatever information you need. Our maintenance of effort, we did well, like you just mentioned, and I can go further into that another time as far as our financial reports if you'd like to. If you guys have questions, just let me know.
Just one comment. One of the things that seems to be somewhat critical for a lot of agencies and companies is the new W-4 forms that start next year. And
Yes.
so I don't, know what's been going on with that in our district and the school districts at large, but I just wanted to put that on your radar in case that was not on your radar in terms of the changes in the W-4 withholding forms is something that's going to be a pretty critical aspect next year.
Yes, you are correct. And now we were exposed to that at the Greenbush Conference,
Okay.
and they have built that into our software updates for the end
Good.
of the year.
All right.
So it is on the radar, and we will be changing that
Okay.
going forward. But thank you.
All right.
Anything else? Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you.
Maintenance Department, James Ramsey, please.
James and the group have been busy.
Well, we did get the football field winterized and got all the sprinklers and stuff blew out for the winter. We did clean out the district office. Washington School is on our radar in January. You're going to see big dumpsters over there, and we're going to hopefully finish that job up this winter. We got the AC filters changed and the belts on the rooftops. That's about a 6-month job. In December 20th, the community room at the middle school, the carpet's going to get replaced. If you remember right, that was a new one that we had put in. It came in bad, so it's coming back out and getting a new one at no cost. We did our 6-month asbestos inspection, just finished that up. All gym bleachers have been inspected and serviced. And we've been using the cyclone rake, picking up leaves, a lot of leaves. And that's pretty much it for right now.
And the facilities group, James has led us each week in the last, I don't know how many weeks, a lot of weeks, it feels like, touring through each of the buildings and looking and identifying areas and items that we think need to be on a long-term facility plan, so. And he did also get together all of the heaters, or all the HVAC systems with the date. I mean, he's got a spreadsheet, so he's put that together as well. So we can use in planning as we move ahead.
Any questions?
Yeah, I got a question, Jay. Did I understand you to say that of all of our schools, as far as the roof, the middle school is the oldest roof? Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And then where does it taper down to? The rest of them, were they all kind of replaced?
It would be the grade schools. They had a overlay put on during the renovations, 2006. So you're looking at 13 years on some of them. And we did do some roofs, like Guthridge, we did some of it when we did the train project. So we, in pieces of Lincoln.
But the high school is probably the newest, is that, or not?
Yes, the high school's probably got the newest roof because, again, on that train project, we finished up a huge section of it over there. And so most of the main old building over there would have TPO on it. It's probably within 2 or 3 years of each other.
And the gym was done at the same time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Thank you, James. Mr. Peak was supposed to make a PR and technology integration presentation, but he's home ill today, so he'll be rescheduled for January. Okay. All right, moving on to new business, action to accept donations. That's page 32 of your materials.
All right, there were a number of donations this month. We have a very generous community. At the district office, the Episcopal Church donated $1,300 to pay towards negative food service balances for students. They were able to help 133 students with that donation. Parsons Education Foundation awarded mini grants for a total of $3,270, and those were allocated to the high school mathematics. They got some bouncy band chairs for $330, middle school yearbook and fax. They're putting together a new teacher's lounge. They're doing a redesign with the competition for students. That was $800. The fishing club at the middle school was awarded $1,000 for fishing equipment. 7th grade science received $640 for 4 new binocular microscopes, and the middle school English and language arts received a $500 grant for classroom reading and center supplies. Parsons Education Foundation and the One Gas Science Grant, we received a grant for $4,982.47 for Code and Go robots and the Green Giant. The class of 1972 made a donation of $815 to the class of 2022 for a total of $10,367.47 through the district office. Garfield PTO donated a mini Christmas gift for $180 for a total of $180 there. At Lincoln, PTO donated books for Christmas valued at $305. Pat Holland, 110 hats for preschoolers valued at $330. Coca-Cola Gives, an unrestricted donation for $41.30. Tank Connection, their kids fund, $500. And Missouri Advertising Association, a teacher grant for Ms. Hicks, $250 for a total of $1,426.30 at Lincoln. At Gathridge, PTO made a donation for the Thanksgiving Project of $125, a $200 donation from PTO for the Christmas Carnival Party, and PTO another $200 donation for hot chocolate and cookies. Tank Connection, Tank Money for Kids, which is that kids fund, for $500, and Interstate Studios, an unrestricted donation of $256.82 for a total of $1,281.82. At the high school for the month of November, the Walmart Community Grant was for the Positive Reinforcement Program, $1,000. Roger Duroni, Saw 3 Cedar Logs, the wood shop, $375. Roger Duroni Snacks for the basketball program, $36.22. Roger Duroni Banquet Dinner for the football program, $536.11. Kurt Fries, the Banquet Dinner football program donation of $250. Heartland Financial Group donated to the football program $1,000. Casey's donated cups and lids to the Viking store for $225. Casey's made a donation to the graphic design program, $504.50. PHS Booster Club, a donation to the graphic design program of $96. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Honor Flight made a donation to the graphic design program for $96, and then we have Wood Doolahary for made a donation to the graphic design program for $38.25. Interstate Studios donated for the Positive Reinforcement Program $261.53. Stevens Vending Corporation made a donation to the Positive Reinforcement Program for $61.84. New Life Clothing and More donated to the Honor Flight Program $100. There were anonymous donations for the Honor Flight Program totaling $397, and Pepsi Cola sponsored a scholarship of $1,000. So that total was $5,881.45 at the high school, for a total of donations for November 2019, $19,137.04.
Question.
Very generous.
Do you know who applied for the Walmart Community Fund grant? Because we've missed out on it for several years.
I do not know who applied for that.
I'd
I can ask.
like to know and give them a pat on the back.
What's the Pepsi Cola Corporation scholarship?
I would need to ask Tony or Tabitha at the high school.
They,
So,
That
does
comes
that
out
mean-
of the vending machine.
That-
I'll just offer that.
That would be good.
They give our graduating senior scholarships every year because of the vending machines, like Lou mentioned. But that's kind of the deal. Part of that contract is they give scholarships to. They're awarded at that banquet we have.
the end of the year.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yep.
Lori, who gets to use the code and Go Robots and the Green Giant?
So I know they're using some of those at the middle school, and, at some of the One Kansas Science Grant at the middle school. This particular was at Garfield. She's a third grade teacher, and I can, Tambry Davis.
So basically,
So that would be
I'll
in her-
speak to that. So what happened was, I was contacted last year by an individual who was a representative of the Kansas Gas Service Foundation. And she had gotten my name from somewhere, and she says, we have monies available for school foundations, and we see that you have a school foundation. And so I said yes, and so she suggested that we apply for grants through the One Gas Foundation, which is Kansas Gas Service Foundation, because they can only give their money to school foundations that are 501c3s, like the Parsons Educational Foundation is. And so we circulated a grant request, and Mary Freeze and Michelle Piva and Wes Kroll wrote a grant that's science-related called the Green Giant. And then
Tambry
wrote a grant for these Code and Go robots. And we accepted those, the Educational Foundation did, for forwarding to the One Gas Foundation. They were funded, and so that they passed through the grant to them.
That's
And that
great.
was received earlier this year.
It's wonderful.
It's really, it's exciting.
Any other questions? If not, accept the motion to accept donations.
Move to approve.
Motion by Joanne. Second by Olivia. Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. Item 10.1, action on wellness policy. We have the policies for the elementary, middle school, and high school. Hope you had an opportunity to go through those.
And actually, this would be considered the first reading of that policy. So we've just got it incorrectly here. So this will be an action item in January. So you have an opportunity to look through it. And if you have any questions, there weren't any substantial changes from when it was done in 17. It's my understanding it has to be approved. Is it every 3 years? Right, every 3 years. So this is the third year. So it's time.
Is this a state requirement?
Yes.
Well, it's actually a federal.
Federal food
Because
service,
of the food.
Federal
right.
money.
federal food service program.
Right. So.
Okay, are there any questions?
You say it's going to be an action item,
Yeah, that's next month.
so you want questions now or then?
Well, if you have questions, then I can take them,
Well,
and then
on
I have an
page
opportunity
33, I
to.
just curious,
33, you say?
page 33,
Okay.
the smart snacks, is there a list or nutritional standards that we have to develop that? Or is there a guideline?
I'm sure there are guidelines. I mean, there's a little calculator that you put in,
And
you
we
put
have
in
a
the
book.
nutritional value. We have a book.
Okay.
And you put it in, and then it tells you if it's compliant or it's not compliant.
And
Does our
it's
food
based,
service not handle this, though, while we have someone under
Okay.
contract or not?
No, OPA does not. This is
Okay.
our district responsibility because it's for the vending machines that are at the high school.
Right.
And that's the only place we have vending machines.
That's what I thought.
right, and so, in fact, we have a meeting scheduled on Wednesday to go through those, and to visit with Mr. Swanson and the folks at the high school that run those machines.
But all of this, they have calorie intake, basically is
fat,
what
yeah.
it is. They'll
Calorie,
approve the
sugar.
water, but you can't have regular Gatorade in the vending machines and have them on during the school day.
So it's a formula that you use when you plug in the fat and the calories and the sugars, and then it says, yes, you can have it, and no, or no, you can't.
Now, the state monitors it, but it's still a federal program.
Okay, I remember when Jim Cooper and I was student council sponsor, we went through this whole
It's
thing.
much tougher than it was.
Now, can the high school students have those at lunchtime?
No, the machines have to be turned off during the hours when they're serving lunch.
Now, how about the snacks we used to have at the elementary schools? Was that part of a grant?
It was. That was the fresh fruit and fresh vegetable grant.
I was going to ask that too,
So-
Roger, because, yeah.
And we did that. And to my knowledge, that's not been off. That grant hasn't been available in recent years.
Any other questions? Okay, this will be an action item next month. Moving forward to 10.2, action on high school science textbooks. Lot of material there, folks.
There is. Linda met with all of the teachers, science teachers at the high school.
And the science teachers at the high school, I mean, if you look at their books, they're from '01, '03, '08, and '09. Now, the language art books that we selected last year at the elementary were 2020. All of these new editions are 2020, except the anatomy and physiology book, which is, there's very few of those available for high school students, but we have to have it for our health sciences. The books, and I know Mr. Martino had said that, science doesn't change, but the resources and the online stuff that is available now is much different. I will say that high school science department, they went all day to Greenbush, and I went with them. We looked at all kinds of textbooks. They met with a company representative. They had 3 meetings. I went to another 3 or so with them. And the last meeting we had, I asked each, there's 4 of them, and I asked each one of them, is this the series you want? And they all said yes. Now, there is one book that is not, it's from a different series, but we have biology. The biology book we have is very difficult. It's probably what you all had in college, and they've just, made it much tougher. We have there is the second biology book that's a $6,000, is a lower reading level, and it's really more of the main concepts they need to learn for biology. So that's why there's 2 biology books.
But this is the faculty's recommendation on these things.
This is the faculty's recommendation.
This is the faculty.
These people that went and visited this and figured out what's right. Okay.
Right.
Yes,
And there was-
I didn't have any input.
Okay.
I mean, the 4 of them, and they talked a lot about it and the options,
And we did put in the budget this year for these textbooks. We budgeted $65,000, thinking that's what it would cost, and it came out, under that, so.
but their textbooks, I mean, especially our freshmen, the physical science books, they had been rebound, and then they rebound them again, so then, the book gets smaller and smaller. This year, we had to buy some replacements. It was cheaper to buy the books that we had that were 15 years old online, like at $3 and $4, rather than rebind them. That's how outdated, nobody wants these books.
I did ask why about the 01s. I asked Paul, and the reason was that the 01 was up for adoption, but the former chemistry teacher, physics, did not want to purchase those books at that time. So that's why
It stayed the same.
they
like
stayed
15 years.
in there for so long. So, but that's all right. But he said he didn't use them a lot, but now they're pretty rough.
They're almost 20 years old. So. But this was their choice. But they did a lot of work. It wasn't just something, let's pick the first series that we look at. They did a lot of work on it.
And they started talking about it last spring.
And then we really started looking at textbooks in the fall, and they've been at it since September.
Move to approve a textbook recommendation from the faculty.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Roger. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. Need to appoint a couple members to the negotiation team. And also authorize superintendent to be a professional negotiator if necessary. Last year, I believe Jeff and Lou were on the team.
Lou, you want to do it again or not?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll
Lou and Roger.
Without a
Lou and Jeff.
negotiator.
Lou and Jeff. Lou and Jeff, not Roger.
I'm sorry, you're right, Lou and Jeff, thank you.
Roger's like.
I'm not sure.
Roger's like, "Why am I back?"
He didn't even choke, Roger.
I know.
teachers should come back getting a pay cut if Roger's on that. It's not gonna work out. Just not gonna work out.
Roger, would you make that motion?
Yeah.
Motion by Roger, a second by
I'll second it.
Olivia to appoint Jeff and Lou to the negotiating team. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. Now we need to appoint a couple members to the calendar committee. I believe last year that Olivia and.
Olivia.
I think we've only had one.
Just need one.
Okay.
Don't need me.
So Olivia would like to do that again?
Sure.
All right.
I'd volunteer if you want another one.
I
If
would
you
like to
don't,
have
that's
parents,
all right.
some parent input though. And if they have to come through me, that'll be fine, but I would like to see parents on the committee.
We need more than one.
It wouldn't hurt. I mean,
Put Roger on, Roger and Olivia.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to have Roger and Olivia both on that committee.
We'll do it.
We have a second by
Second?
Joanne. Roger and Olivia to serve on the calendar committee. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. 10.5, an executive session to discuss non-elected personnel. Unless anybody has something, 15 minutes should take care of us, I believe.
Give me 2 minutes.
20?
2.
You at 2?
Should go 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Okay.
I move we go into executive session, discuss confidential employee information pursuant to non-elected personnel exception or coma at 6:30. So 20 minutes. The board will return to open meeting at 6:50 in this room.
And we'll have the superintendent and assistant superintendent present?
Yep.
All with the board. Okay. Motion by Jeff, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by David. An executive session for 20 minutes, begin at 6:30. For non-elected personnel, returning at 6:50 with the board, the superintendent, assistant superintendent. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. Thank you. Okay, we're back in session. Agenda item 10.6, action on personnel.
We've got two recommendations for employment. John Campbell, middle school evening custodian, effective December the 2nd, 2019, and Linda Perrell, assistant superintendent, effective the 2021 school year. I recommend that you accept those.
Accept the motion to approve those two
Move to approve.
contracts. Second by Jeff, second by Roger. Discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0.
Okay, we had two resignations from employment. Brian Wiley, the Guthridge custodian, effective December the 6th, and Lisa Wiley, his wife, the Garfield custodian, effective December the 6th. They've both moved out of town. We were sorry to see them go.
Move to approve those resignations.
Motion by Jeff,
Second.
second by Roger. Discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0.
You got a request that's not on the agenda, but
How about the guy that took the custodian place? Didn't he have a contract to approve? Benny?
Oh, right now he's working temporary until they're going to do some interviews to see, so he was willing to come in on a short-term basis.
Oh.
So those interviews were.
I thought he took it, okay.
We were to have interviews last week, and then Mr. Ramsey had a death in his
Okay.
family, so next month there'll be something.
Anything else? Meeting is adjourned at 7.
I have a question. Could you ask if there's anything?
wasn't on the agenda this
No,
month.
it's not on the
I just anticipated that you maybe have something, so.
College textbooks for kids that do dual credit. There was a discussion. I wish you would talk to the counselors or some of the concurrent and dual credit teachers in regard to finding a way for students that can't come up with all the money for college textbooks. So we have some kind of funding like we do for other extracurricular activities. And by the way, it was told to me earlier that our kids have to pay tuition at LCC for dual credit classes?
Yeah.
Tuition?
Or maybe it's fees, it's one or the
It's
other, they're
fees. I know
exact.
they have to pay fees.
So because one's
Okay, I
paid
just
for,
wanted to clarify,
the fees and the
because
tuition are the exact same.
If you have a 3.0 Labette County, your
Tuition is free, then you have to pay fees, but the fees are the same as tuition.
That's why you-
Well, even some of the fees may be a little,
And keep your tuition up.
a 3-hour class is
Maybe we
like
need to look for a
$150.
plan for college classes. I mean, period. They're taking them at the high school, right? Not at the college.
Yeah.
They're doing both. And so I visited with the counselors about that, and the trouble becomes then, depending upon who the instructor is and what textbook they use, which is based on the syllabus, that would determine, I mean, the books change pretty regularly. And so if an instructor changes, they may use a different book. One semester to the next, they may use a different book. Some of the books that have been purchased have been donated by people, students, have been donated back to the high school, and so they also have some that are on, I think it's called Open Court, where we've printed those off, and so those are made available if a student is taking a class and the instructor wants to use that textbook. So we have some of those available. There were too many to come up with a list when I visited with the ladies last time about that.
I'm just saying there
But that
should be
could-
some funding for whatever list does come up for fees and/or textbooks.
And so that would be something that would be an action of the board.
Well, that's what-
So we would have to put in the budget.
It could also be something that could be requested of the Educational Foundation, because the
Yeah, we
Educational
talked about that,
Foundation
I agree.
every year has paid money for books. Now, if the concept, the proposal from the school district is, because LCC forgoes the tuition, but the students have to pay the fees. Now, what's transpired in education has both fees and tuition has gone up. And so, to put it in a perspective, our flagship institution, you're at $500 a credit hour for tuition and fees. So that's 10 times higher than what our students are paying at LCC. So it is still a value. So we got to keep that into perspective. But I understand your
Still not
point.
affordable for
What's-
many.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Still not affordable for many.
So the question is, what is the annual cost of that for our students on average?
Yeah.
And would that be something that the Educational Foundation would be willing to assign some
Well, I
money
appreciate
towards?
that.
And could the district cost share in that? I think we have plenty of ability to assist in that. But we also need to keep in mind, it is relatively inexpensive to what the next level is.
I don't just, I
But I
encourage
think
kids to
all of
go
our
to-
board members would be
I
supportive.
agree with you. I agree.
Or if the students just pay half, 25%, whatever.
It depends. Some can do it, some can't. But for some of those HOSA books, for like Leanne Miles, they're like $200.
I'm going to suggest to you that, given the mechanics of policing students that can pay a quarter and students that can pay a half and all that, I would be in support of a blanket system. We don't look at need, we just take care of our students so that we don't have to police it and we don't have to make sure they
And I
pay.
agree.
It's kind of like our staff.
More fair.
If you apply for money, you get it.
Oh, I agree.
I would be in support of that type of system so that we don't have to pay someone to enforce payment on the student's behalf and so on and so
I'm
forth.
with you on that.
Yeah.
It just,
So it's everybody.
So as we begin to build a budget for next year,
right,
we're looking at earmarking a certain amount of money.
right.
The first thing we're looking at is
Is the
figuring out what
foundation.
we're dealing with.
So what I need to do
How many
is.
kids?
is- Right.
How many
How many
kids on
kids, how many
average?
hours?
And how many
The cost of
hours?
books, the cost of fees. And let's figure out, is this a $20,000 a year problem? Is it a $50,000 a year problem? Or is it a $5,000 a year problem? And then let's talk to the Educational Foundation Board about assisting with that on an annual basis.
It's like the
And then we
tuition
can
pool
talk
that we
about
have
our
for our
budget.
teachers. It's
Yeah.
along the
That's
same
right.
lines.
Anything
So
else?
that's all I'm saying.
Adjourned 6:58 PM. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Be safe out there.